What up, world? It's your boy Mo Better. And I'm thinking about a few things today, and I get to thinking about I went to go see the movie yesterday with Denzel Washington, that Magnificent Seven, and I became emotional behind it. I became emotional behind it because the type of men that were in the movie, that the movie was actually based on, they almost like no longer exist. Real men of honor. I'm not talking about I'm gonna go kill everybody and fastest with the gun. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you watch the movie, they actually fought for honor. They fought for integrity, loyalty. They fought for a cause. And the best part about the cause is that all these guys were different. They were all different. But guess what they had in common? The same enemy. The same enemy that destroyed them all is the only thing they had. Well, it's what they had in common, but they came to realize that as they began to understand who and what their enemy really was, they found out that they had more in common than they thought they did. And together they got together and they defeated an army with just 7 men. That's what's called the Magnificent Seven. We keep dealing with situations like that. We can go all the way back and you start talking about like the movie 300. Y'all see the movie 300? And what a lot of people look at is when people see 300, they see the battles, the war, the way these guys were built. He was a dog. He was a boss. He was a gangster. He was things like that. And when you think about that, you think about the brutality of the movie, the blood. You think about the things in the movie like that. Guess what you missed? That they got together for a cause. Not just the Spartans. Remember, the Spartans actually called and pulled other people into the battle to say, hey, listen, man, until we get together, the same enemy that's your enemy, and that's my enemy, and that's his enemy, is going to destroy us together unless we get together to fight that enemy. Think about the same situation. I went to a business seminar with Ebony Sharina, and I heard some of the most profound statements made at this seminar. One of the things was, and I want to ask you, because we hate everything. We hate everything being done to us by somebody. But do you understand that the terminology is used, we hate what is being done to us by an enemy. Somebody that is really trying to oppress us. We as a collective, we as a multitude of people hate what is being done to us to the degree. But how long will you allow what you hate to deny you from doing what it is that you need to do? Or how long will you allow the hate that you feel how long will you allow the hate that you are feeling of a thing to oppress you from doing what needs to be done? Will you allow that same hate that you have to continuously make you not do what you need to do? Again, we got the same enemy. When I go back, I want to go think about Amistad. Remember Amistad? The movie Amistad? You remember Roots? You remember when they took over the ships? Now, think about this. This is in Africa. People don't understand. People get stuck on Africa, South Africa, and they get stuck on Egypt, and they believe that that's the whole of Africa when it's actually not. There's so much countries in Africa. But that means that they're like in one country, there's multiple tribes. Like in Cleveland. They're separated just by a road, but you have Cleveland, Cleveland Heights, East Cleveland. You know, you have different forms in different parts of Cleveland. Now, back in the motherland, these were different tribes also. Like there's different cities. These were different tribes. Sometimes they beefed and sometimes they didn't. But the whole thing is they had their own cultures. Like us, we as the African Americans, we as the Negro, we have our own cultures. But within our own culture, there are other cultures. You have affirmative terminologies for that. You have etic, and I forgot the other term, but there's a difference between cultures from a culture. Then there's also different cultures within the same culture. And although we are all Negroes, we are of different cultures. When you think about the ship Amistad again, I'm going to go back there. And when you think about everybody, I mean, especially by my age, you think about roots. They overturned the slave ships. But what did they do? In order to overturn the slave ship, guess what they did? They thought about how many similarities they had within each other, even though they were different cultures. Then they did that was against them. So the situation is, guess what? We all carry the same enemy. Guess what? The enemy that's your enemy is my enemy. Is your enemy is my enemy. But we outnumber this enemy together. So guess what we need to do, man? I need to learn your language. Y'all remember the big brother on Roots? He said, this is what we all need to do. I need to learn your language. You learn my language. And our similarities actually surpass and outweigh what we don't have in common. If you have something, I don't like, my favorite color is red. Yours might be blue. Hers might be green. His might be pink. Hers might be yellow. We might like different foods. We might like different ways to do things. Guess what? Going to a mall, we might like to take different roads. Somebody might take the freeway. Somebody like the city. Somebody might like, guess what? The back streets. But we still going to the same cinema. We still going to watch the same movie. There's multiple ways to get to New York, but guess what? Somebody might fly, somebody might take the bus, somebody might drive, somebody might go a completely different route. But we still gonna get to New York. I say that to say this. Guess what? We all have the same goal to have the best in life. According to the rights in the United States, the Constitution of the United States of America, we have the right to pursue love, life, and happiness. Is that correct? And in that pursuit of that life, guess what? We all have the same enemy that is denying us that right. I'm not talking about a law, because rights surpass laws. Your rights can never be given up unless you turn over your rights. And if you don't, guess what? You have the right to pursue love, life, and happiness. And we all have the same enemy that is denying us our right. And until we get together and learn each other's languages, we all gonna continue that enemy that we outnumber together is gonna continuously destroy us, because we allow what separates us that they actually send to us to keep us divided instead of coming together to conquer and overturn this slave ship that we own. We can be Amistad. But the thing is, we have been groomed to believe and hate each other to the degrees to where I don't want to be with you. Guess what we need to do? I might not like something you do, and then people know me that they'll understand this. Hey, man, these niggas talk too much. Guess what I'm doing, though? I'm trying to understand you. I'm trying to learn your language. I want to understand you. So guess what? I might be able to get what you got, not yours, but my own, because you taught me how to do this. And I'm trying to show you the same thing on how to do something that I may be doing. And until we do this, man, we gonna continuously hate the same enemy and complain about the same enemy that we can beat together. We surpassed them. We got them beat. But until we come together and understand it, man, even though we speak in different languages, we are of the same culture in our hearts. We are passionate people. We are loving people. We are kind people. But guess we have been groomed to do? We have been groomed to hate each other because we're on a slave ship. And guess what was happening on the slave ship, man? We wasn't eating. Do we eat out here? We wouldn't get no money. Do we get money here? You know what I'm saying? How many things were we denied on a slave ship? Light, all kinds of situations. Now, psychologically, and philosophically, we were denied all those same things here. And even now, like for real, penitentiaries for us is just like a slave ship. Guess what? Your neighborhood is a slave ship for real. Because guess what? You are encapsulated in the spot that they provide for you to be in. And you are denied everything surrounding it. That ocean, you can't get on there because you in chains, right? And guess what the demonstration is? I'm mad because you close to me. I'm mad because you laying all on me. I'm mad because, man, you from the other tribe. You from East Cleveland. You from Superior. You from St. Clair. You from 105. You from Warrensville. You from Garden Valley. I'm so focused on what does not matter that I can't see the gist of the plan that's killing all of us. Again, we outnumber the enemy. And until we educate ourselves on each other's language in order to trust that enemy that we outnumber, will continuously destroy us all. Is anybody understanding what I'm saying? Can I get a thumb up? Can I get a heart? Can I get anything? Can I get some type of something on this right here? Is anybody paying attention to what I'm saying? Do I make any sense? Ask a question. Give me an understanding of what you're talking about. Write it, and I'll say it and question it. Jesse Flowers, Monica Green, Miss Moon, D. DeLorean. Am I making any sense? In the movie Amistad, man, these dudes all came from different tribes. They all spoke different languages. But guess what they knew? They hated the same enemy because that enemy was oppressing them. And guess what they knew? We outnumber them, at least on this ship. Guess what we do in the real world? We outnumber them. And until we learn each other's languages and come together, we will continuously be demolished and hate each other like they are grooming us to do. How long, again, I ask the question, will you allow what you hate to deny you from obtaining your right? I established this organization called Collective Minds LLC, and it's actually the renovation of Black Wall Street. And right after slavery, these brothers came from everywhere, and again, they spoke different languages. They came from different plantations, different slave owners, and things of that nature. And some people were dentists. One was a doctor. One knew how to do stores and businesses. One knew how to use automobiles. Another one knew how to cook. And what they did was accumulated people. And they organized them to say, this is what you know how to do. This is what you know how to do. Okay, this is what you know how to do. And guess what? They organized their own town. Even though they spoke different languages, they had the same goal and they knew they had the same enemy. So in order to defeat that enemy, they got together on what they were in common with, as opposed to what they didn't like, and created one of the biggest infrastructures that has ever been known since the pyramids in Egypt. And this is what I want to do here. I'm trying to do the same exact thing here. I don't know what it is that some of you may not like about me, aside from us being groomed to not like each other. I could be looked at as who this nigga think he is. Who does he think I don't believe, ain't that the dude that, guess what? I'm the dude that's put my life on the line for you. That's who I am. And I ask anybody to know me. I'm the dude that's trying to get you not to make the same mistakes that I made. I'm the dude that's trying to organize us like Black Wall Street. And guess what? I don't own this. I don't want to do this myself. I want to learn your language. I want you to learn mine. And together, guess what? I want us to learn Monica's language, Jesse Fowler's language, Ms. Moon's language, D. DeLauren, Martin's language. I want us all, Simi Davis, I want us all to learn one another's language so we can find the commonalities that we have. What we have in common as opposed to what we have that's separate. And together, we can not even reinvent, because the situation is you can't reinvent the wheel. But I want to restructure what it was that we had. And I want to continuously teach and educate and learn and be educated about everything that we can possibly do so we can go back to the origin of what and who we were and still are. But again, until we learn each other's languages, until we get together and again, look at what we have in common as opposed to what we do not, I guarantee you that we have more in common than we don't. Now, how much more can you have in common to where somebody is trying to take your breath? Do we all have in common that you want to be the best that you can be in life, period? Do you have children? If I have children, I want mine to have the best. I want my children to walk in great grandchildren to walk in a house and they friends say, oh, that who is that guy on the picture? Who is that woman on the picture for you sisters? Oh, that's my great grandmother, granddaddy, that established everything that we have here. And until we learn, is that your goal? That's my goal. It's not necessarily the situations of the material possessions, but guess what it is? Not necessarily the situation of material possessions. It's morals, principles, standards, honor, loyalty, integrity within self, things that really matter. And until we come together, we will always have. You don't like me, I'm just saying, if you don't. If you don't like D. DeLauren Martin, you don't like Sonya, thank you for turning in. If you don't like Monica, you don't like Jesse Fowler, Miss Moon, Anthony Jackson, Simi Davis, a few of the people that's listening. Ask yourself why. Why don't you like this person? 9 times out of 10 is for something you don't even know about because it's been placed in us subconsciously to hate our own. Because that's what they do. They force us to hate our own, create a situation to where, like Malcolm said, if you listen to the media for so long and listen to who is misleading you for so long, that you will begin to actually hate those being oppressed with you and begin to love the oppressor. So right now, instead of us being together, and instead of us coming together to join together with what we have in common, we are allowing ourselves to continuously be depressed and always talk about what we hate and wonder why we, as a people, can never come together and do what needs to be done. Again, I ask the question, how long will you allow what you hate to deny you from having what is rightfully yours?